I have to tell you that there are countries in which a promise to make a gift, maybe if it's in writing, maybe if we can really be sure that it was made, maybe if we can sure that there's nothing immoral behind it, nothing that the law or society frowns on, they'll enforce a promise to make a gift, but not in the United States, not in what are so-called common law countries. All these countries which get their law from England. Now that's one kind of promise which the law will not enforce, a promise to make a gift. So these are four principles, the idea that not all promises are contracts. The invitation to dinner, showing the informal or no intent to create legal relations example. The silver watch, promises which are jokes and are not contracts, even though they have the form of a contract. And then the immoral contract, that's the third. And finally, when promises which are exchanged for nothing, when there's no bargain, those are also not contracts. What is it about bargains that says these are the only kinds of promises that the law wants to stand behind? Well, bargains are the stuff of commerce. They're the stuff of productive interchanges, and promises which are jokes, promises which are part of relations between friends, promises to make gifts. These, the law said, and the law says, are not important enough for us to get involved in. They're not important enough to spend the time of lawyers and judges and jurors to enforce. So all that the law is going to enforce are bargains. Now, it turns out that that's not true. It turns out that though it's said often by courts and textbooks that the law will only enforce bargains, exchanges, that in fact we'll see a number of quite important situations where we can't find a bargain. We can't find an exchange, and yet the law will stand behind it. It does it in an embarrassed way. It does it as if it's some kind of an exception, and it is a kind of an exception. But those are important exceptions, and we're going to have to look at them carefully. But for the moment, we've got this principle. No enforcement of purely informal relations not intended to create legal relations. No enforcement of things that look like contracts, that look like bargains, but which the parties really meant as a joke, or one of the parties meant as a joke, and the other one should certainly have known that. And then there are bargains, but bargains where the exchange is thought to be somehow immoral. And finally, bargains which are not bargains at all, but are in fact promises to make gifts. Now, just to get you in the mood of what really happens in courts, we've got this principle. The courts will stand behind promises, but only promises which are bargains. Second, if it's a bargain, the law doesn't care if it's a good bargain or a fair bargain, but just, is it a bargain at all? And the reason for that, of course, is that people ought to be able to make whatever bargains they want. And the law doesn't want to look over their shoulders. It wants to leave them free to decide as they wish what kind of a bargain they make. That, at least, is what you read in the books.